of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. Happy Thursday. Today we are going to do a little solo episode and just talk about a few things that are pretty important to me and feel pretty timely with our 2 days ago now. This is coming out on Thursday, so I'm talking about this on Wednesday, so give me a break, guys. But on Tuesday, we had the State of the Union address. And so I feel pretty inspired to get on here and talk to you guys about politics and why it is important that we all should be kind of giving a crap about what is going on. It affects us as ranchers and farmers in agriculture, and kind of sharing how everyday ranchers and agriculturalists can be involved without having to be lobbying on Capitol Hill or anything like that. I have opinions about the State of the Union address. Dan and I yesterday kind of briefly talked about them on our market report episode. We spent the first 10-15 minutes of that episode just catching up and talking, and we talked a little bit about the State of the Union address, but my opinions kind of lie in the fact that it was interesting to watch as far as not necessarily what was shared by President Trump, but specifically the reactions that people in the audience had. And it's just kind of sad to see on a national level how divided we are. Even on topics that there shouldn't be any division over. There shouldn't be any division over a brain cancer child getting sworn in as a honorary Secret Service officer. There shouldn't be any division over that. So that was just kind of sad to see. I share more of my thoughts on that on yesterday's episode and stuff, so I won't get into too much of it today. I think that Trump did a good job at sharing kind of what he's done so far in the administration, what they're looking at kind of in the future, things like that. Again, Dan and I talk a little bit more about tariffs. We're hoping to have some more conversations on those and how they're going to be affecting us as agriculturalists here in the future with some hopeful guests that are maybe a little bit more knowledgeable on them than I am and stuff like that. But I want to start out this podcast by saying, even though we just went through that State of the Union address and it looked like we were really divided, I'm involved in politics at a state level, at a local level. I have a lot of friends that are in politics, things like that. That was not a representation of local politics or state politics even. Truly, I want to say that we're not as divided as that made us look. That State of the Union address made us look very bipartisan, very straight down the middle divide. But it's not that bad. It really isn't. And it's sad to see so many elected people act like that when I know that their staffers, their people that are doing all the work behind the scenes don't act like that. You have to reach across party lines a lot in order to be able to get things done. And there are a lot of situations in politics where we're able to put our parties behind us beside and just be humans with one another. And that was not what was shown on a national level with the State of the Union address, which is really, really sad, honestly. So I want to hopefully encourage some of you listening to this that it's not that bad. I know a lot of us probably have friends that are on the other side of the aisle, whether it's a Republican and you're a friend with a Democrat, or you're a Democrat and you're a friend with a Republican. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. To me, I'm an American. That's who I am. Okay, that is who I am. That's what I stand for. And I have beliefs on both sides of the lines as far as certain things go and stuff like that. And so at the end of the day, I'm an American. I care about our country, and I damn sure care about agriculture. And so at the end of the day, I hope that's what you guys stand for too, that you are an American and you care about agriculture, and that you're going to show up and say, you know what, enough of the party division BS. Let's just get stuff done. Let's be progressive for agriculture, stuff like that. So the first and foremost thing that I want to talk about today is the fact that you are not as far removed from politics as you maybe think that you are, or as far removed from your representatives, your senators, as you may think you are. Every single local and state representative has a phone line that you can call, and they have office hours that you can call and talk to them every single week. Some have every single day, some have multiple, it just depends on your representative and depends on your state and all of that stuff. But they have a phone line that you can call. And if you can't get a hold of them directly, you're going to get a hold of one of their staffers who secretly, those are kind of the people that are, actually doing the things. Staffers are way more important than we give them credit for. They're the ones that are bringing the biggest topics to our representatives, things like that. So don't think that if you get a staffer on a phone that they're not actually listening and that they don't actually care, because I promise that they do. They're the people that are doing a lot of the work that we don't see and don't get enough credit. So please start with just creating a relationship with your local, state, national representatives. It's really important to do that. And for me, I'm involved in a state agricultural leadership organization. And this is something that really kind of I started to open my eyes to through this organization and stuff like that, was the fact that like our representatives want to hear from us. And one person told me this when we had one of our seminars a few months ago, and they were like, you should be on a first name basis with your representatives. And if you're not, you're doing something wrong. You should be on a first name basis. You should know who they are. They should know who you are. You should be able to call them and have coffee with them when they're back in your local communities. All of the things like that. Like, you need to be so plugged into them that you have a continual conversation kind of going with them. So in order to start doing that, first and foremost, call them, talk to them on the phone. But I encourage you to be a human when you call them just to talk about your concerns and your thoughts. Don't call them hot-headed. Call them with a sane head, all of these things. Like, call them and just share your story, share about your operation. Start that relationship of like, hey, I am a 5th generation rancher from Northeast Kansas that like we do XYZ, and share your story. Start that conversation with them so that they have someone that like if points come across and they're like, hey, I want to talk to someone in my congressional district that knows about this or is involved in this. They know that they can call you and talk to you about it too. Because that relationship kind of goes both ways. So you can call them. Second of all, I need you all to be involved in your local organizations that are representing you at these state levels, representing you with your people, all of these things. So that means you need to be going to your local KLA meetings, your local soybean association meetings, your local farm bureau meetings, all of these things where your representatives are going to be showing up. Maybe not every single meeting will they be there, but they will be there. They are going to be at local council meetings, things like that. Like, you need to be going to these meetings where your representatives are or their staffers are. And if you're not going to these meetings for that, you need to be going to these meetings that are representing agriculture. So organizations like KLA, for example, that they have an entire team dedicated to talking to farmers and ranchers, taking their concerns, putting them into a big list and pile and being like, okay, these are our, like, what we're hearing from our people in our organization. This is what we're going to focus on. These are our thoughts and beliefs on all of these. And then they're going to go do the work for you as well. So even if you don't want to be the person that is calling your representative or senator, I want you to be involved in your organizations like KLA, Soybean, all of these other associations that go to Capitol Hill and they advocate for you. There is nothing that is as good as you picking up the phone and calling your representative yourself. And all of these organizations will agree with me that they, at the end of the day, will not be able to get nearly as far as an individual member in that district calling them and saying something. Those organizations will not be able to do the same that you are able to. But if you don't want to be the one calling, emailing, creating a relationship, that's fine. Still be involved in these organizations, please, and let your voice be heard there, because there's power in numbers. There's power behind those organizations. They have the time, the resources, all of this stuff that is dedicated to representing us at these state and national levels. So please, please, please get involved there. Get involved there. Go to these local meetings. Get involved in these organizations. Get your membership dues, like all of this stuff. At the end of the day, every single one of you has the power to be your own advocate. Whether it's for your individual farm and ranch, or whether it's for your individual farm or ranch, or whether it's for agriculture as a whole. Every single one of you has the power to be an advocate. That is so big. We live in an amazing, amazing country that allows us the opportunity to create these relationships and be involved and make a difference. But it takes us actually taking the steps to do that. It takes us actually picking up the phone. It takes us sending that email. It takes us going to these organizational events. It takes being involved in order for that to actually be fruitful. Okay? So many people are like, yeah, we live in an amazing free country, but like, I have no control over my politics, or that doesn't affect me, or all of this stuff. But it does. It affects our living every single day. Go look at the markets right now. Tell me how those are reacting to our political climate right now. It affects us. But you, as an individual farmer or rancher, or agriculturalist, or someone that's ag adjacent, ag advocate, whatever you may be, have the power to sit here and be like, no, I have a voice. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call my representative. I'm going to set up a coffee meeting with them. I'm going to look at their schedule and see when they're home next and they're doing meetings or coffee hours or things like that. I have one of my really, really good friends is a representative in Kansas. And she comes back, like she still lives here in Manhattan, and she comes back all the time and does different community organizational events or things like that. Back in my home district where my family's operation is, they do the same thing. They have coffee hours. They have like different meetings that they set up when they're back in their districts and stuff like that. Go to these, create those relationships, speak up for yourself and your livelihood and all of the things like that. Being involved doesn't have to mean you're going to go sit outside Capitol Hill with a picket. Like, that's not what I'm asking you guys to do. Please, actually, don't do that. Like, you don't need to do that. You really don't. You really, really don't. Just pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and just call them. Set up a meeting. Create those relationships because you have a voice. And it is your job as individual farmers and ranchers to be standing up for agriculture. Because if we don't stand up for us, who's going to? We have these amazing organizations who do it, yes. But we are also responsible for feeding our opinions and thoughts into those organizations and saying, hey, this is what we're dealing with right now. Like, we need to put our thumb on this. We need, like, this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what we're seeing at my ranch. And the thing is like, take Kansas, for instance. Northeast Kansas and Southwest Kansas are very different. Very, very different from, like, weather to land to manufacturing to different phases of the animal cycle that we house in those different areas. All the things so drastically different in those areas. And so it's not fair to for example, people in Southwest Kansas to not have people speaking up, but then people in Northeast Kansas do. And so then laws and regulations and policy and all of this stuff is being made by people that are speaking up here in Northeast Kansas, but not by people that are speaking up in Southwest Kansas. This is just for example, by the way, guys, just for example. So it's your job, no matter where you are in the state of Kansas, that you need to be speaking up and sharing your struggles, your thoughts, your opinions, all of these things with your local organizations that are there to represent you. But then also, if there's a big concern, if there's something big happening, call your representative, make those relationships, all of the things like that, because you guys have the power to make a difference. I hope that at the end of this, that you're able to see that we had a interesting State of the Union address on Tuesday night, but we are not as divided as we may seem on a national level. And I hope that if nothing else, you guys got a little encouraged to kind of get your butt out the door and go speak up for agriculture and go speak up for our way of life. Doesn't have to be on a national level. It starts in your local communities. It starts with your local boards, your local councils, and then it goes to your state councils, state boards, state representatives, all of the things like that. And then that's where we get impacted on a national level. So I encourage you all, go get involved, pick up the phone, and at the very least, go Google who your representative and senator is. If you don't even know that, that's a great first step. It's a great first step. Just go Google who your local representative and senators are. Start there, and then save their contact info. Save it in your phone. And that way, if anything comes up, you've got it right there. You can call them during their call hours and start to make a change within agriculture. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. I enjoy these solo episodes every once in a while. It's nice to just be able to sit here and ramble and chit chat with you guys and all the things like that. So thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys as audience members. If you guys can please rate, review, subscribe, like, all the things. Seriously, I know I say it every single time, multiple times an episode, but like, we appreciate it so, so much. It really does make a difference to how many people we are able to impact within agriculture and continue to grow this podcast and continue to just provide an amazing experience for all of you guys. So thank you so much from myself and the CattleUSA team. We appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning on another episode of the CattleUSA Daily Podcast. Have a good one, y'all.